Well, good evening, everyone. This is November 29th, Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. with Talk to the Doctor. This is Dr. Ella Thorpe with Tustin Longevity Center here in Southern California. We are a functional integrative medical practice, and we have chosen to meet with our patients, family, friends, through the YouTube for a question and answer where you can ask any question you like, and I will try my best to give you the best functional integrative approach that practicing this for 41 years has taught me. And the answer, if I don't know it, I will tell you that, and maybe I will have the time before the next week to look up and give you some updates on things. But in general, we're trying to tell you how to prevent disease. If you have issues of health and disease, we try and talk to you about how to restore your health. And we are trying to promote a dialogue and promote wellness so that we can stay healthy and help our family, our children, our grandchildren, and even great-grandchildren. And I have seen a great benefit over these many decades. The preventative way works, the natural way works. Now, we'll do the standard of care if you need a high blood pressure medicine or you need medicine for blood sugar or other issues. Of course, if we need a consultant, we'll use them. But in general, we're trying to teach you the lifestyle that should go along with the care that you need along with standard of medicine. So we have questions that come to us all the time. This is through email, and at the bottom of the link here, you can see the link and type in to the office here at TLC, our website, tlcdoctors.com. But if you email office@TLC and kind of annotate it as questions for the weekly Tuesday night, 6 p.m., then I'll get these emails so I can try and answer them and read them. I don't get them ahead of time. They're handed to me right, shortly before this, before others leave for work. And so I'll go through them and see if I can't give you some answers as well. Then there is the chat here. If you're on YouTube, you can type in a question to our chat, and I will then, after I do the emails, I'll look over there and see if I can get as many of the chat questions answered also. And of course, if this is a benefit, please like and subscribe and share this with your family and friends as well. So the first question, I think this carried over from last week. Dorothy says, what is the best cheese to eat for calcium? How is calcium best absorbed into the bones? I went from a -2 to a -2.8 on my bone density scan. I am doing 20 small jumps each day and trying to get all my supplements and hormones. I did some lap swimming for about 30 minutes last week and lifted my knees up slowly, running across the pool. I really did walking and swimming a lot that day. All right, so our bones typically start demineralizing when we're starting to hit menopause, somewhere in our 40s. And the bone is a site where our body will put in other toxic minerals because it's such a slow turnover site normally. So that lead and aluminum and mercury, things like this, are put in. So not only do we start demineralizing our bones from calcium and they get soft, but we auto-intoxicate ourselves along with our daily breathed in, eaten, and the water contaminant we consume drinking. So it's like a double whammy. The bone has to have vitamin D and K2 to help appropriately mobilize calcium ions for deposition, and working with the uh, um, calcium cells that build versus the calcium cells that break down the bone, osteoblasts and osteoclasts. So enough vitamin D3 and vitamin K2. And don't confuse that with vitamin K, which is really vitamin K1, which is associated with our blood clotting. Vitamin K2 is really involved in our bone metabolism and for building bone. So we use vitamin D at higher levels than the average recommendation. Typically, the standard recommendations for vitamin D and bone building are roughly in the 30 micrograms per deciliter to the 60 range micrograms per deciliter. We saw that from this past time with the viral illness pandemic, that people who had a vitamin D level in their serum of at least around 55, most of these people fared, irregardless of their age, very, very well. And so we feel very strongly about achieving a vitamin D3 of 80 micrograms per deciliter. So our range fluctuates, or at least mine personally, for many decades now. I like it between 80 and 120. Of course, we check the comprehensive chemistry to look at liver enzymes. Vitamin D is fat soluble, and there is a concern for fat soluble stress on your tissues and liver. I have never seen it in the 40 years, except for one case, which quickly corrected itself with identification. And that was a case in which someone was taking a very high dose, even more than what we were recommending. But the typical dosing I have most of my patients on is somewhere between 5,000 international units and 10,000. I myself take 15,000, and I have many people on a daily dose of 20,000. And I've seen research where people have been on as much as 50,000 international units for a month or two without any vitamin D toxicity, although I never recommend that other than for a 5-day bout with an acute cold symptom. So vitamin D for calcium metabolism and bone building is very important at high enough levels. This is why all our patients tend to do well. We also have hormones that are involved in the osteoblast, osteoclast, bone building, bone remodeling. Osteoclasts help in remodeling the bone. And so we are aware of the importance of the natural hormone replacement therapy also at optimal levels. So we will give this to the woman and sometimes testosterone as well, or with DHEA, 25, 50 milligrams to build up her testosterone. Then we want to create a sudden deceleration, like stomping on the floor. That's sudden deceleration, like if you act like a little angry child, like a brat stomping, and you do that, 10, 15 seconds twice a day, that will literally shake. As if my skin is my periosteum and I can pull the skin up and down, your bones have a sheath on it that the tendons connect to. And so that little jiggle will talk to the bone in an electrochemical way, a piezometric way, to say we want to build this bone and repair it. I don't ever use calcium as a recommendation as part of my bone building. I've never needed it. There's enough calcium in our food. Now, is there a particular cheese? I don't know which has the highest content. I suppose I could go to my Netter's Encyclopedia of Food Values, but I'm not going to take time at this to do it. Maybe you can Google that, but it isn't so much of trying how much you're getting, it's whether or not you're digesting it. The older we get, the less we digest our food, and you have to have enough stomach acids, and you have to break down the contents that it's delivered in the tissues of the protein and muscle and of what you're eating. So we want you to also take digestive enzymes, and that will help the liberation of the minerals that are in the food, which should be adequate. People who have been taking a lot of calcium, over the past 30, 40 years, we have seen that calcium be deposited in soft tissues, ligaments, muscles along the lining of your arteries, that where it's never supposed to go in the first place. So vitamin DK2 is associated with trying to help prevent that wrongful deposition, but it's facilitated with just this excessive daily consumption of calcium products. So indiscriminate use of calcium supplementation and the quality of the calcium is a concern and an issue. So your food should have it. Some of the highest sources outside of dairy products, and really even superior, would be in some beef and some clams and mussels, things like this. So we do strongly encourage the consumption of the meat, fish, poultry, pork, and mollusk crustaceans, as well as cheese and eggs for this as well. So hopefully I answered those questions and included the stomping, sudden deceleration. And we want you to not wear all these cushy gym shoes unless you are literally a runner, because that gym shoe will soften each step you take, and you won't get that kind of jam, sudden deceleration impact. And that's why we say do this for, stomping, either in hard shoes or your bare feet on tiled cement or something like that, for 15, 20 seconds, morning and evening, and that'll kind of shake things up. Hopefully that helps you, Dorothy. Then Sandy asked the question, I'm wondering how important it is to use a humidifier, especially in these seasons with low humidity. If so, do you have recommendations of what to look for? Thanks. I personally use towels that I wet, and I do bring them into my bedroom, and I just lay them over the back of my chair, and in the morning they're dried out. So a towel or two. I don't have continuous humidifiers that have a tray of water and a blowing machine and such, because these are scenarios that tend to promote fungal growth. So that's why I use a towel, and that's why I wet it. And once it's dry, it's finished. So, and then I, of course, strongly recommend that you're drinking, half your weight in pounds as ounces every day. So between drinking your water and having your room with one or two wet towels, that you kind of wring out, that should help with the humidity issue in the season. Now, one of the things is that as we age, our mucous membranes become thinner, just like the back of our hands, and our skin gets thinner with age. And we start to bump it in the ways we normally would bump things throughout our lives. But with thinner skin, the actual meat through which, the blood vessels go through gets thinner, and instead of nice and thick, it gets thinner, 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 thinner. And so when you bump this can break and make these bruises more easily in thin skin. The same happens with all the connective tissue lining our sinuses and airways. So as it gets thinner, it becomes easier for irritants, pollens, toxins that are floating in the air, heavy metals that are nanoparticulate size, to cross these mucous membrane barriers. So you'll notice sometimes as you get older, you'll just get a runny, clear, drippy nose. That's called senile rhinorrhea. And they really don't know why it happens. Well, the why is because with thinner skin, it's more easily irritated, and the secretion of that mucus is much more predominant and easily triggered. The unfortunate thing is also viruses and stuff like that can cross over, and so the lack of the sunshine, the lower the D, the less outdoor activity and exercise building your immune system, the easier it is to cross over these thin membranes. The lack of water we drink, with low vitamin D, we become more susceptible to the seasonal affective depression and viral illnesses in the winters. So yeah, humidity helps reduce that. Now, the argument is why? Is it because there's more molecules floating around, and if a virus hits it, it'll precipitate out before it has time to circulate around and land in your mucus in your nose? We don't know that in specifics, but we do know that the humidity in the room is linked as it gets lower and lower with increased upper respiratory pathologies and such. So Sandy, I would not use humidifiers. That's why I never recommend those. I recommend a wet towel, and two of them would be even better. And I don't have a dripping pan either that will have a collection of water to kind of draw up the water into the towel, because I don't want fungus to grow. The next question is from Patricia. Hello, Dr. E. What are your thoughts on the Berkey water filter? Thank you, Patricia. I have one right here sitting in my iShot. I use it every day. I'm also using the Dew Stand, DEWSTAND, 2 words, Dew Stand. That takes the water out of the air and condenses it like a dehumidifier, and then filters it. So it takes water from the air and filters it. So there's no water tubing to it. It pulls it out of the air. So the Berkey water filter system has been tried for many decades and has shown to have a good track record in regards to its filtering for purification of your water. So I have both. I have it here in my office, and I have it in my home. So I'm in favor, Patricia, of the Berkey water filter system. Tiziana says, hi, Dr. Rita. I got very sick after Thanksgiving. It started with fever and diarrhea, then more fever and a cold and cough. I fasted for a couple of days, drinking water with electrolytes, homemade bone broth, and herbal teas. On the third day, I added a homemade blended vegetable soup. As for supplements, I took 3 capsules a day of Vascuzyme, that works as an anti-inflammatory, 2 to 3 grams of vitamin C a day, which is 2,000 to 3,000 milligrams, 10,000 international units of vitamin D3, and she used the TLC Immune Protect 2 a day. The Immune Protect is designed to be 5 a day, but she only used 2 a day. In it, we put our best suggestion of quercetin, vitamin C, N-acetylcysteine, zinc, and various known immune stimulants. And it is excellent. She also used a tablespoon of Argentine silver 3 times a day, and occasionally sprayed it into her nostrils. So she was pretty sick the first 3 days, and I did not feel any benefit from all I was doing. But then on day 4, I turned the corner. Can you advise us what is the best supplementation regimen when we are sick? I wasn't sure how much to take. Thank you. Well, the only thing Tiziana would have said is you could have used the Immune Protect as 5 capsules a day. That would have given you a little higher doses of the zinc, in particular, the N-acetylcysteine, quercetin, and the vitamin C and such, even though you were supplementing with vitamin C. I think everything you did is good. What you have to understand is the immunology, and immunology associated with the immune system fighting back any cold or illness takes 2 to 3 days to kick in to produce the antibodies and the repair defense system. And so you had a very typical 3 days of being under the weather, and then on the fourth day emerging on the mend. So I would just say we designed Immune Protect 5 a day because those are the doses in research that are associated with a rather universal immune support. So that's the only thing I would have increased, Tiziana. That you got the D in, vitamin D. Another thing, we have the vitamin D as 50,000 international units per capsule. And we do recommend at the onset of a cold, flu symptomology, 1 capsule of 50,000 a day for 5 days. So you could have increased your D10,000 maybe up to as much as 50,000 a day. If you only had the 10,000 units, you could have taken 5 a day as well. I really like your Argentin. I have it in my house also in case of colds. I have a gallon jug of it. I have a 16-ounce bottle, and I have a couple of empty spray bottles, to spray or on my throat. I can also put it in a little bottle where I can sip it, swish, and then gargle and swallow it if I have a sore throat. I have it in nasal sprays to put up my nose. So I think you did a very good job with what you have, and I don't see a real need to do anything more. I have in the past seen some people get good results in addition to what we've just listed with grapefruit seed extract. And those grapefruit seed extract we have it here, a reputable producer, and 1 or 2 a day acts also as an antifungal, antiviral, antibacterial, just like Argentin. I also think that taking a iodine tablet is a smart thing to do. I take 12.5 milligrams every day in a tablet form. I don't like using with the liquid spray in my nose or anything like that because it can stain the clothes and so forth. So those are maybe some other ideas, Tiziana, that you might have around all the time for your family. Barbara says, hello, Dr. Ellithorpe. I haven't heard you talk about taking calcium supplements to promote bone strength. I am 73 and have taken calcium citrate, magnesium with vitamin D for years. I have the starting of osteopenia, but it has never progressed. I am thankful for your YouTube and the opportunity to ask you questions. The spiritual encouragement you give to listeners is very special. God bless, Barbara. Well, thank you, Barbara. And I would say I was just talking with Dorothy when we first started the program about my feelings on calcium. And I don't think calcium is the answer. I think it really is the vitamin D3 at adequate blood levels. So you should get that blood level checked, Barbara. We would like it to be about 80 to 120. That helps really build bone. You might consider some natural hormone replacement therapy, at least with progesterone, and then stomping. 15 seconds on a hard surface with your bare feet or in just soft moccasins so you can feel that sudden deceleration jamming your feet. And that really, hormones, vitamin D, stomping has typically been sufficient with vitamin K2. We pretty much blend all our vitamin D3 with K2, somewhere in the realm of getting at least 45 to 90 micrograms. One of my supplements has 180 micrograms of vitamin K2. And this is how our 80-year-olds are building their bones and are normal, and it's blowing the minds of their primary care doctors. So hopefully that helps you, Barbara. And thank you for your question. And God bless as well. Deborah, let's see. Deborah asks, will chelation remove aluminum from brain tissue? My clinical answer, my clinical personal experience is yes. Now, there is no money available, nor is there any reasonable ethical test to do brain biopsies on people. So, what you have to do is look at chelation management and testing post-chelation urine or hair or serum levels or intracellular red blood cell levels or even stool samples. I've been doing this and I have been around chelation therapy since I was 7 years old. So that's more than 2 years ago. Okay. So I've seen my grandfather chelated, my father chelated, I'm chelated. I have been involved in chelation. I just taught chelation 2 weekends ago to many doctors. And the long and the short of it is I see aluminum drop nicely. And with that, I can only assume with clinical improved performance. But now remember, I have a multifactorial approach. I am not just chelating, I'm having them eat less sticky sugars that clog up capillaries to the brain. I am having them drink more water. I am insisting that my patients exercise to do this hydraulic pumping and cleansing. I'm asking them all to use systemic enzymes to be like little soap suds to clean away inflammation and debris. I have them on hormones to stimulate repair and help with cognitive function and memory of the brain. I ask them to get involved and be social and pick up a new challenge, learn a musical instrument, read books, play games, get involved in clubs such as hearts and chess or various things that stimulate the thought. All our experience clinically, along with this and many other things, is we find these people have improved memory. Many of them are pulling themselves out of dementia decline. Some even as far as diagnosed with Alzheimer's recover. We see their blood pressures, cardiovascular, their memories improve, their interaction with family and friends be rekindled. So no, we don't have biopsies of brain tissue showing the aluminum is gone, but we have the post-challenge, the red blood cell, the serum levels, hair levels, all these other things along with their clinical performance indicates that we always see this aluminum reduction associated with better function. So hopefully, Deborah, that would be a answer for you. Dorothy has a second question. She says, glory and honor and praise be to the Tustin Longevity Center and everyone in it. Is coffee bad for bone health? If it is, then I'm I'm in trouble because I drink a good deal of coffee. I probably have 3 mugs of coffee a day. My mug has about 12 ounces, so that's 36 ounces of coffee a day. So that's like 4 to 8 cups. And there is good research out there indicating that the polyphenols, these are powerful antioxidants that are in the caffeine of the coffee bean itself, are associated with anti-aging, oxidative stress reduction, and longevity, prevention of dementia, and cognitive decline. So is it bad for your bone health? I have never seen this in the decades and decades that I've practiced. I don't have a pattern where I see someone with a bone density loss and go into the question, how much coffee do you drink a day? There are some outlier issues with hyperthyroidism and bone density there's inactivity, and not, stomping and using your bones. These are associated with bone loss, aging, inflammation. So no, I'm not going to say coffee is bad for the bones. And no, it is not, to my knowledge, a known depleter of calcium from the bones. And I thank you for your kind statement, Dorothy, of glory and honor and praise be to the Tesla Longevity Center and everyone in it. Thank you. But Dorothy, God is the creator and we are his creation. It says in chapter 2 of the Bible that we're made in God's image. And I woke up last night, I would say it was around, I fell asleep around 7:30. Maybe when I go home today after work, I will wind up laying down and falling asleep and then wake up like I did at 2 in the morning, 2:15 as well. But, a low eating a low carbohydrate diet and fasting is also associated with growth hormone repair and bone building. So that's another reason for that. This is chapter 1, and it says in verse 26 of Genesis, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. And God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, over the cattle, and over all the sea, fish of the sea, and fowl of the air, cattle, and over every creeping thing that creepeth on the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. And he blessed them. And he said, go and be fruitful, and on and on. So I take that literally. I am a literalist. I believe every word in the Bible. And I see each patient as God's creation. Therefore, woe to me if I don't try and do the best I can for God's greatest achievement, the creation of man that he made in his own image. So I'm so blessed, Dorothy, you said such a kind thing about me. But again, truly, let's direct that all up to God. I do appreciate kind words, but we haven't even begun to do all that we really can, each of us, in our own sphere, with our own family, our own relationships, to try and treat one another with a respect that is due if we see each other as his creation made in his image. So thank you again, Dorothy. So let's go to page 2 on these questions. Kim says, will chelation remove aluminum from brain tissue? So that is a repeat of the lady before, Deborah. I have been listening to Dr. Christopher Exley, and he recommends drinking silica-rich mineral water each day to help remove aluminum from the body. Are you familiar with this method? Kim, I am not. I would have to look at this, so I'm going to highlight this. One of the wonderful things about this program here is it helps me to stay young, in that my patient base is always tweaking my mind to study Dr. Christopher Exley, drinking silica-rich mineral water for aluminum removal. So I highlighted it here, and I will be looking into that, Kim. Because I've never heard such a thing, and since I teach it to doctors all over the world, I better be up on that. And maybe sometime you can send me a reference if I don't find it. So that'll be something maybe next week I can come up with. Let's see, Penny is the next question. Hi again, Dr. E. In the morning, I take 4-Vitalzyme. That's a systemic enzyme that you take on an empty stomach. 1 teaspoon of Ion Gut Health. That sounds like an electrolyte solution. 1 scoop of SBI Protect. That's an immunoglobulin that supports the healthy lining immunologically of the gut lining. And then 3 strontium with liquid liposomal vitamin C. I wait about 15 minutes between each, hoping for the best absorption. However, this is too time consuming, I agree, and wondering if there is a more efficient way, yet still getting the best results from each nutrient. Still hoping you'll accept me, 83 years old and Dr. Mitchell's patient, as your patient. Blessings and thank you for all you do. Well, thank you, Penny. I have to tell you, I am seeing in our new doctors, Dr. Johnson, Dr. Kaur, Dr. Patel, P.A. Patel. These doctors are very good doctors, and I am devoting more and more of my time and self into their personal development because I will have to turn this place over at some point or have them buy out part of the business or something like that and keep this going on after I pass away. And so I want to be teaching them. And Penny, I would like you to develop confidence in them. And you'll be seeing me sitting with them more and more often. We meet monthly and we discuss cases more and more time to review these patient issues. So, Penny, I can't take more new patients. At my age, at 70, I just am at my peak level of bodily performance. I'm trying to learn to take a day off. I'm trying to do that very, very, very hard. So, although I appreciate the honor in which you're giving me, asking me to see you, I will be seeing and watching over you, and I will, whoever you are with, and then you can send it to me on one of these emails too. Say I'm going to be seeing Dr. Patel or Kaur or Merrick or Johnson. And I will be sure that I make sure I sit in there and kind of oversee things going on there. That's my hope anyway. Now, as to what to do, the older we get, Penny, the less we digest. And I think the more important thing is if you're taking that SBI Protect, that is a protein. One of the ways you can enhance absorption is with a digestive enzyme. If you can tolerate taking 1 orthodigestzyme with your SBI Protect and just take all together your 4 Vitalzyme, your teaspoon of the Gut Ion Health, your scoop of the SBI Protect, and your 3 strontium with your liquid liposomal C, just take it all together with 1 digestive enzyme. And that should be sufficient. So hope that will help you, Penny. And then the last one on the write-in emails that I have tonight is from Lee. Lee says, can you share with us the difference between the TLC progesterone cream, 200 milligram per ml, versus an oral capsule of 100 milligram? TLC estradiol cream, 6 milligram per milliliter versus estradiol transdermal patch, 0.05. Well, here's the difference. To use the cream, you're using a simple base cream that has the real natural hormone in it because they are fat soluble. Steroid hormones are made from cholesterol, which is a fat, so they mush into, you might say, the Eucerin cream very nicely, which also helps as a moisturizer and a skin protectant, and it helps slowing aging. So I like that. Plus, we can chop up the dose. We can smear it over larger or smaller areas and just concentratedly rub it in. But it's the same identical molecule, estradiol or progesterone. It is just the format. I like topical creams because we can do and manage them with so much more. I don't like having capsules or patches that have these, you know, patch has some of that latex or that plasticizer or this even reaction I see with it just sealing up the skin there for 2.5, 3 days and a half. And so it's not natural. I'm trying to do everything as natural as I can. So patches with estradiol are okay, but it's still a more unnatural application method that you're exposing yourself to with the plastics involved and all that goes into making them. Capsules have the same healthy, wonderful human bioidentical molecule in it, but again, the plastic of the capsule or fillers, you might say, if it's in a different format, these are things I'm trying to stay away from. But good old Eucerin cream is pretty much just going to stay on the skin and help your skin look smooth and soft and sealed, and so that's why. Um, then you said during menopause, is it okay to take progesterone every day so we don't have a period? Absolutely, Lee. It is fine to take it every day. Um, I do think you should get an annual pelvic, and if you get some breakthrough bleeding, after all, if you're taking hormones and you have a normal uterus, there is always a possibility for your normal uterus to build up a little bit of the lining in response to the estradiol and to be cleansed out with the progesterone, both natural reactions to natural hormones. Well, then if you're postmenopausal, it makes all these uninformed doctors, have a heart attack thinking, oh my God, you're having postmenopausal bleeding. So that, they're worried about cancer. They want to do an endometrial biopsy. They want to do a pelvic ultrasound and a visit and maybe a follow-up. So I tend, and I personally use progesterone the first of the month to the 15th of the month so that I always have a little clean out like a normal menstrual cycle right around the middle of the month every month. And this way it comes at the right time because when I stop the progesterone or just before I'm finished on the 15th day, I start having the normal effects of cleaning the uterus out of any potential buildup in the lining. I like that because I know things are working correctly. I could just as easily take the progesterone every day and then uh, maybe do a pelvic once a year with an ultrasound just to look at the lining and follow it that way. So, no, there's nothing wrong to try and stop having a period, but it's so light for me. And for most women, we can get it to be so predictable that it's very manageable. Which way is better, 15 versus 30 days of the month? Well, it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, and I hope my explanation helped inform you, Lee, that either way is okay. So that covers the pages that I had here. Let's go to our chat here and take a look there with the time we have left. Lua says, do you recommend drinking colloidal silver? Well, I wouldn't recommend drinking any silver per se. Colloidal is just a chemistry procedure in the production of the silver in solution, and it's associated with less uniform dispersing. It's more clumpy. It's decent. It's good. It's what we've had for many, many decades. And so colloidal silver over the counter is probably very useful, whether you drink it or you apply it topically or you gargle it and swish and swallow or gargle, swish and spit it out. you're going to benefit on those surfaces that it touches in particular. Um, but I like Argentine silver because it is nanoparticulate, meaning it is more universally smaller and dispersed, so that its capacity to cover a surface more uniformly and thoroughly is enhanced. So doctors get Argentine, the public does not. I use Argentine. The company does produce a half strength over the counter called Sovereign Silver. It too is nanoparticulate, but it's about half the strength. Now, to drink it, I would never drink it as in a glass. There are people who will take a teaspoon of it, swish, gargle, and swallow during an illness, and then they'll take this for 7 to 10 days. I think that's perfectly fine with a high quality nanoparticulate silver and probably even colloidal. But I would not recommend making your own silver because that's how you get pyrogyria. You saw the blue man. He looks like that cartoon of the little guys who have white hair and little white hats, and they're all blue. I forget what their names are. Anyway, he's the blue man, and he made his own silver, and he kept on drinking it every day. This is not what we're recommending. But using it for a cold for 7 to 10 days, a teaspoon 4 times a day, 5 times a day, that's on the recommendation bottle. All right, so hopefully that helps explain that. Garden Fairy 351 says, there was some concerns about the Berkey fluoride filters producing an aluminum byproduct. Garden Fairy, I never heard of that. I have never heard of that. And I think I'm pretty much up on all these formats. But here we go. This is how you guys keep me young. You keep me studying. So there's a fluoride byproduct that you thought was from the Berkey. I'll see if I can scrounge anything up on that, Garden Fairy, and we'll see. Let's see. Rosa says, hello, doctor. I'm a 70-year-old woman. I'm intermittent fasting and eating on this 20 hours fast, 4-hour eating window. Very good, Rosa. I compliment you. God bless you in your efforts. I learned that 20-hour fast balances my hormones. I'm not happy with how I am able to focus. My skin is softer. Should I take female hormones and why? Thank you. Well, if I hadn't mentioned it, I will mention it now. This isn't meant to be individual medical management. These are general principles as to how we would approach. Natural hormone replacement is going to help with your cell membrane repair. They're general contractors in our bodies, your estradiol and your progesterone, Rosa. And it will help your hair to grow, your skin to repair itself and stay thicker. It helps the elastin, collagen, and the thickness of the skin on the back of your hands so you don't look quite as old, and age as much. The other thing is, remember that fasting will help you with your insulin growth factor, which is your somatostatin. These are growth promoting repair. And all these things will help you. But hormones have an additional benefit of helping you with deeper sleep, as well as going to bed on an empty stomach will help you with sleep, and that will help you repair better and age more slowly. But it also greatly is associated with mental acuity, mental recall, emotional stability, Rosa. And so I am all in favor, if at all possible, for women to use natural hormone replacement therapy. There's a book out there by the name of Estrogen Matters. And it goes over, there's nearly 400 biochemical known benefits of estradiol. And no, I don't agree that it causes cancer. So And your Rosa says I'm blood type B. So am I, Rosa. So let's be beautiful 70-year-old women and take our hormones. And I eat one meal a day. I might extend that eating of that one meal over a 3-hour window. And so it might be more correct to say I'm on a 20 fast 4-hour eating window. But sometimes I'm 23-1. But I so strongly compliment you, Rosa, on what you're doing. Um, get on those hormones if it's at all possible. Find a doctor that is competent and familiar with using them. Will measure your levels and do follow-ups on you until they get it right. Let's see, Dolores says, hi, Dr. Rita. Did you have a blessed Thanksgiving with your family? Oh, Dolores, I had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I did all the cooking, and it turned out great. And I made what did I make? I made what it's called a pumpkin pie dump cake. If you go on YouTube and put in a pumpkin pie dump cake. And it actually, I think it tastes better than pumpkin pie. There you go. All right, so there you are. I am blessed and thankful for you and all your knowledge. God bless. Well, Dolores, thank you so much for that kind statement and endorsement. And it is God who gives us everything we have. So believe me, we pass that on to Him. But thank you for those kind words. And here, Smurfs, there's my sister, Debbie, always coming to my rescue. Deborah, the check is in the mail. So Deborah says those blue guys are the Smurfs. There you go. See, what an intelligent family I come from. We know all these details. All right, thank you, Deborah. Dolores goes on to say, Dr. Rita, I started taking estradiol every day and progesterone for bones since I broke my femur. I looked on label and paper from P.A. Patel and did not state if needed to take every day or just for 2 weeks. So would you make that for the progesterone? Call in the office tomorrow, Dolores, so that issue on you, as if you're a patient here, obviously, then, so that can be followed up, okay? I will not remember that. So you call in the morning, 714-544-1521, and have Dr. Patel, P.A. Patel, clarify whether it's going to be 2 weeks out of every month or the whole month, and we'll address that. And let's see, Nora says, hi, Dr. Rita. Would you please recommend any supplement for strengthening my heart? Thank you, love you. Well, God bless you, Nora. Well, we would certainly say there's 2 things. Coenzyme Q10, 300 milligrams. We have a wonderful, high quality sourcing for this. And you could use 1 or 2 a day, 300 to 600 milligrams a day. The other thing is doing that fasting like you saw Rosa was doing, 20 hours of fasting, 4 hours of eating of a healthy protein-rich diet. Remember, your heart is muscle. It needs all that healthy protein and healthy cholesterol and fat. So that would be something. Then the other thing is testosterone. I like my women to have testosterone levels around, 60 to 100 to help, because that will help with the heart contractility as well. So those are just some things there that would be recommended. So my dear Tustin Longevity Center Health Freedom Tribe, I'm going to say goodnight to you so I can get home and get some rest. I haven't been home at all. I've been working all day. I have to be back at work tomorrow. And I'll just take one more from Lua. Just curious if you know of any places I can buy natural makeup. Thanks, God bless. Ooh, natural makeup. Dr. Mitchell here has a makeup line that is all natural. If you call the front office, 714-544-1521, Dr. Mitchell, our gynecologist, has carried this line for years and years. I'm really not the girly dress up kind of a girl. I'm kind of just basics, and so I just have a little lipstick and a little rouge and not much more. So I don't really look into those things. But call Dr. Mitchell and they can give you the line that she's been using. So with that, I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday at 6 o'clock in the evening. Get your family and friends. Don't forget to check down at the bottom here and type in a question. Join us. Please like and subscribe. Share this with your family and friends if you find it of value. And may God bless and keep us all and forgive us. We so thank Him for His forgiveness of our sins. All right. Good night.